Going up. Welcome to the Pop Tower Podcast with your host, the man behind the myth, Peter Dawson, and the soulful Lordy, James Bullock.
Episode 69. Ha ha! Nice. I am Peter W. Dawson.
I'm Harvey Birdman, attorney at law.
Thank you, James. I couldn't decide what joke to do, so I did them both. Anyway, this is indeed the Pop Tower Podcast, or yeah, Pop Tower, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not Harvey Birdman, attorney at law.
Okay, I get word I was going to say the wrong thing.
I'm not Peter.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking today about video games, television, and movies. Yeah, we're just going to call it that. Simple enough, because we got all sorts of categories to cover today.
Yeah, we got the trifecta going hard today.
Well, and there's a bit of crossover with this first one,
yes,
because it's a video game adaptation of a beloved TV show.
Yeah, we got anime, manga, streaming, everything.
Oh, yeah. No, the hashtags are going to be out of control. So we're opening up with Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
Yes, the first big game of 2020.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, like, there were some other big ones, sort of, but this is probably the big game so far of the year. At least in the West.
Mm-hmm.
Japan's already had some pretty good ones that we're super jealous of, I think, to a degree.
Yeah, definitely.
Or at least I am. Yeah, so we're going to talk about Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which, of course, is an adaptation of the Dragon Ball Z beloved TV series.
Yes. An
anime which ran... When did that start? 1990?
Which one? The anime?
The Z, because like the original started in the 80s.
Yeah, no, I thought
right?
Z. I thought Z was like 89.
Was it 89? Oh yeah, it was totally 89.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Dragon Ball was 86 to 89, and then Z was 89 to 96.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got GT for a year.
Oh god.
Well, a year and a half.
Yeah.
Hey, it's still enough time for 3 storylines. And then of course we had Super more recently from 2015 to 2018. Mm-hmm. And then there's been a few television specials here and there. But, yeah. So, Z is interesting because, or Kakarot, I should say, because while it's called Kakarot, you play as basically everyone.
Yeah, and that was the thing I was actually happy about the most, was the fact that they didn't just stifle you and have you play as Kakarot. Like, because if they had you playing as Goku, the game would have lasted probably about 12 to 15 hours.
Yeah, no. This one definitely seems to have solid length because it does go through. I mean, the one problem with any Dragon Ball Z adaptation is that you know where it's going.
Right.
Because it's going to adapt. It's going to adapt the Saiyan Saga. It's going to adapt Frieza Saga. It's going to adapt the Cell Saga, and it's going to adapt the Buu Saga. They might adapt to other things in there here and there. And arguably one of the best points of this game is when they go off script for a bit.
Yes.
Because they have fun with the lore and they do some interesting things. Like one of my favorites is when they bring back frickin' Launch.
Yeah, and even Goku remarks that we forgot about her. Somebody forgot about you, Launch.
Yeah, because they did. They've made that joke more than once, and it's true.
And like you said, going off script is just the fact that Gohan finally interacts with her for the first time, and he has no idea what's going on. He can't explain it, and they don't even bother to try.
No, well, because it was such a weird, quirky thing, and then now in the greater context of the... It's just what? Yeah, so basically what it is an interesting combination of Dragon Ball action RPG elements, like especially Xenoverse, I believe.
Yeah, Xenoverse is definitely from a gameplay perspective and a combat perspective. It definitely takes from that.
Yeah, but it's also got RPG elements, including like crafting minigames, fishing,
cooking,
baseball.
Yeah,
baseball looked really familiar.
Yeah, I hate to say it, man. It's a dumbed down version though, because you can't move your ball.
Yeah,
you just gotta hit that circle button and be happy about it.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like in essence, it looks like a combination of a dumbed down Xenoverse and a dumbed down Yakuza game.
Yeah.
Which on the one hand is awesome because I love Yakuza. And Xenoverse I thought was fun.
Yeah, I thought I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's for me, like the combat in Xenoverse may be a little bit more in depth, but it just didn't feel as tight as Kakarot's does.
Mm-hmm. Like, that's the trade-off. Like, there's less you can do in Kakarot, but, you know, what it does better.
To me, it does better than Xenoverse, yeah.
Yeah, so there's that trade-off.
And then, of course, not to harp too badly on trying to do an original story when it comes to Dragon Ball, but, like, Xenoverse's story really wasn't that good. So,
no.
You know, I'm perfectly fine with just rehashing the whole Z Chronicles.
And just slipping in some cute stuff here and
there.
there.
Right.
Because aren't there, like, I think, because there's little bits in between the sagas that are just
there's intermissions.
Brand new, aren't they?
Yeah, they're intermissions. And my favorite one has to be the one between the Cell Saga and the Buu Saga, because they explain how Gohan kind of like goes from, you know, of course, the teenager that defeated Cell to an adult, or almost an adult, and about to go to school and everything. And they actually showcase the fact that Gohan's really conflicted about giving up his dream of being a scholar to train and be like his dad and try to protect the universe, or stick to his dream and be a scholar. And there's a good moment where, because if you remember, like in Z, after the Cell Saga, pretty much Vegeta was done. Like, he didn't want to fight anymore. Like, he realized he had been overtaken, he'd been overshadowed by Kakarot. He could not beat this guy. He would not be able to save the world. He won't be able to do anything. So I'm just done fighting. And there's a moment to explain exactly why Vegeta wants to start fighting again, and it interacts with him and Gohan, which I thought was really good.
Yeah. I haven't actually seen that segment too much, so I'll have to take your word for it, but it sounds awesome.
No, that's really well done. And then, like, there's the side missions, which are pretty much just like fetch quest, or like go over here and beat this guy and come back and tell me what happened. But there are like some that are really, really good. Like Krillin getting caught by Gohan trying to read a pervy magazine from Master Roshi's stash. Like, that kind of stuff is very entertaining.
And I just like the bit where, isn't there like a cooking fetch quest where Android 18 wants to cook something for Krillin or something like that?
Yes.
That's very adorable, I have to say.
And he's complimenting her, and she's just like giving no reaction whatsoever, but you can tell she's so happy about it. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, they actually did a better job to me explaining exactly the budding relationship between 18 and Krillin than, of course, Z ever did.
Yeah, well, because Toriyama himself, Akira Toriyama, the creator of the series, as frequently said, he has no idea what to do with romance.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, because, like, the Gohan v. Del storyline is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I thought it was such a sweet storyline. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, when it comes to this, of course, you know, certain things have to be cut out. You can't, you know, show everything of this epic, from 89 to 96, 7-year anime adaptation. You can't have everything. So, like, in this instance, you know, the Gohan-Videl relationship kind of gets the short end of the stick. But like you said, in the anime, it's so well done. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Well, part of the thing with the game is they very quickly, this is a spoiler for a very old show, in the show, it takes, 4 or 5 episodes for Videl to get final confirmation that Gohan is Saiyaman?
Yes.
And during that time, she kind of starts to have a thing for him. But, you know, so by the time it's like, oh, okay, they've already kind of got a thing going, although how much it's mutual is still up in the air. And whereas, later on, in this case, she almost immediately busts him.
Yeah, the first mission, he just got the costume.
Which, don't get me wrong, is still funny.
Yeah, because I appreciated the fact that they actually teased us at the beginning when they had their first interaction, where she knew something was different about him, and she, like, picked up on little things about him, and she immediately recognized it when she saw him in the Great Saiyaman costume.
Yeah, like, on the one hand, it makes her smart, but it also kind of ruins the arc of it, which is the problem. But I did like some of the school day stuff still. Yeah,
no, to me, this was actually a lot more enjoyable than the actual anime version when it came to the school day stuff, because some of the annoying, like, very 80s tropes when it came to, like, bullying and everything was just a little bit too long-winded in the anime, whereas this was, you know, to a certain extent, a little bit short, but outside of the Videl part, you know, I was perfectly fine with them kind of, hey, let's get to the World Tournament, let's see what happens to Vegeta when he goes crazy.
Yeah, well, at least it's that Dragon Ball Evolution.
Yeah.
Which you have to say with a Southern accent, because it's American.
Oh, man. Such a terrible, terrible piece of trash.
Yeah, has a couple of funny moments, but yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I love how I'm actually vaguely speaking up in defense of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it looks good. Like the game seems in general pretty enjoyable. I don't think I can let this go without comment. Some of the voice acting, I don't know if it's they didn't get the tone right or if they just recorded in a hurry. Some of the delivery seems pretty bad.
The only ones that stood out, like on a positive note, like of course we got Vegeta's original, Goku's original. I gotta pretty much say all the kids outside of Trunks, absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Goten is just ridiculously bad.
Well, even like Teen Gohan, I really noticed with his find crafting item dialogue. Like, it's like you understand why they had him say what he does, but like the delivery just feels
really
completely
bad.
off.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Like his actual like cutscene dialogue's fine, at worst, but like just some of the like it reminds me a lot of like Final Fantasy 15, where they only had 3 dialogue lines for the fishing mini game.
Yeah.
So the taunts would just play over and over and over again. And even if they were good, it was like,
I've heard this.
I've
heard this.
So you get, I've heard this before, combined with, that's not a good line delivery.
Like, there's like one part, I wish I would have recorded it, where Goku was flying around. I was having him flying around. I was doing something. Because you could pick up orbs to get up your skill points and pick up random fruits and stuff that hang from trees and stuff like that. And he just went into a fit of saying like the same line 15 times in a row about a piece of juicy fruit. Like, I lost it. I wish I would have recorded it because it was so bad. It just kept going on and on. I thought I'd gone crazy. Like, something was going on. I was hearing it, but it really wasn't happening. I was just going crazy.
I don't know. It's
just one of those things.
Well, because it feels like the game was simultaneously thought out and kind of phoned in. That's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, I think it was one of those things that they knew exactly what they wanted to go with, and then on the opposite end of the spectrum, maybe they just didn't have enough time to innovate like they wanted to, so they were like, hey, we see what worked for Xenoverse, and let's just do this from a gameplay perspective, and let's see what's worked for open world action RPG games, let's just do that. And there's not much really to define it outside of the fact that it is a Dragon Ball game, and it's got a lot of the Dragon Ball stuff, but other than that, it doesn't feel like it's that extraordinary. Even for old fans, it doesn't. I mean, it tickles that kind of a nostalgia bone, but it doesn't last that long. I think it's one of those things that I hate to say they should have maybe broken it up, but maybe that would have benefited it more. Like maybe had the Saiyan and Frieza saga as one game, and then the Cell and Buu saga as another.
Yeah, that would have been good. I can think of a few games where that would have helped.
Yeah, I thought about that when I was playing. I got pretty much when I got to almost the end of the Cell saga, I was like, man, they could have probably split this up into 2 games, and I think I've been accepted just as fine.
Yeah, could have done some interesting stuff, especially if they slipped some more things.
Yeah,
there,
exactly.
Some more side quests, whatever.
Yeah.
It happens.
But I mean, a very solid game is not a bad one. The one thing I must say before we close out, they have improved a lot with updates. This is a game that came out a little bit broken, especially when it came to loading times were ridiculous.
Oh my god, the loading times
are bad. Oh my goodness, so bad. And one of the biggest things, they had the Z Encyclopedia, which is pretty much like, hey, look at all the collectibles you have. But one of the things I really do enjoy about it actually has a family tree that's very extensive, like really well done. But before the update, if you try to open up the Z Encyclopedia, the game would just black screen, and then you'd have to reload the whole game. And seemingly that's been fixed. So like stuff like that's been fixed. So I have to give them credit. They're trying to update the game. They're trying to make it better for people that are playing it now. But when it first came out, it was a little broken. It was a little bit rushed. It was very obvious. We've had that. I mean, that's the fall of this generation. I gotta say, rushing out these games, we're getting broken experiences the first couple of weeks, and then they try to fix it, and a lot of people have already moved on.
I know. Like, this is the thing. I mean, we commented that the Wikipedia page for the game doesn't even have much detail.
It just has a brief description, explanation of what the game is, and the reception for the game, but no, gameplay explanation. Plot is, kind of irrelevant considering what it's from. But yeah, it's very obvious, you know. Even some diehard Dragon Ball Z fans couldn't bother with the time to fill out the Wikipedia page.
It happens.
Yep.
But I think that'll about wrap it up. It's a pretty fun game. If you're a Dragon Ball fan, you'd probably enjoy it.
Yeah,
sure.
I don't think, you know, if you're a fan that's kind of like either a lapsed or really don't know too much about the game, you'll enjoy it that much. It's really for the diehard fans. I don't really think it does much to say, hey, newbie, you wanna try to find some Dragon Balls today?
Yeah, there's a lot of cute little jokes in there, though.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Of course, the explanation of the Beastmen thing is pretty great. It was a fad.
Yes.
Whoops.
Oh man.
So, do we want to talk about the series finale?
Yeah, speaking of fads, though, I didn't want to end.
Oh man, Bojack Horseman.
I thought about this thing. Is this the first time we're actually doing a series finale?
No, we've done a few.
Oh, okay. I could not remember, like, what have we done a series finale of?
Well, if nothing else, we did Game of Thrones.
Oh, true. See, I try to block that out of my memory, so...
Yeah.
Oh.
No, and I'm sure we've done more, but off the top of my head,
very much so. Yeah. All right, Bojack, Part 2. Because we gave a little bit of a quick recap of Part 1 of Season 6 on our last podcast. So we're into Part 2 now.
Yep. And, oh man, this season, so we get, this is probably one of the more interesting social commentaries. Because we get the acknowledgement that is undeniably true that Bojack is very much kind of a horrible person.
Yeah, and there's teases, especially during the latter episodes, where you realize this guy is just so starving for being the person that he says he doesn't want to be.
Yep.
No matter if he's in a good place or not.
Yeah. I know, and that's kind of the bummer thing is, like, you want him to, you know, really recover, but at the same time, just so much bad stuff happens. It's like, oh. And
it was one scene, and I hate to spoil it real quick. This is one scene with him and Princess Caroline, and she kind of tells him, "Hey, there's an opportunity potentially for you to, you know, star in this show," and he just gets so excited. Whereas, you know, just a few minutes ago, he was like, "I don't even want to be here. I don't want to be in Hollywood. Hollywood. I don't want to be in Hollywood."
Yeah.
Yeah. They had that callback. They ended the show with a great callback on that one.
Absolutely. Yeah, they had that conversation. He's like, "Oh man, you got a show job for me?" Yeah. It's kind of depressing when you think about the fact that he was just saying, "Oh, I don't want to do it."
Right. He was very adamant about just not even being in that kind of environment. And then once he was in that environment, it's just like, hey, the switch flipped, and it was like the real person just came out. And like you said, it's unfortunate because as a person, it just seems like he's one of those types that will just continuously trip over himself in an attempt just to become that person that he doesn't want to be anymore. And I thoroughly enjoyed not only that commentary on Bojack, but I have to say, and it's something that's always been like in the back of my mind, but it was really evident at the end of the episode of the season finale, that this was just about Diane as much as it was him. And that same mindset. Because we had like this constant struggle with her throughout this entire season of trying to be the person that she wants to be, and in turn kind of like sabotaging the good and happiness that she has. And there were like certain scenes I really wish they would have actually put more time on her, because I actually was intrigued about her life in Chicago. Like, why can't we have an episode dedicated to that, like they did with Hollyhock? Like, I know we had an episode like the first half, but I really wanted like a second half episode with Diane, with the big decision that she made to maybe move from Chicago.
Yeah, like we kind of got that in Good Damage.
Yeah.
But even then, it wasn't. It was the second episode, but even then, it wasn't fully about her.
Right.
Because there were still other elements, in particular with because it's essentially the other half of the opening episode, mostly from Diane's point of view.
Exactly.
But we also get a bit more with what's her nuts?
Penny. Oh yeah, Penny. With Mr. Peanut Butter. I love the way they wrote her off. I'm not going to spoil that one, but I just love the way they wrote her off in the episode that followed that one.
Yeah. Man, I hope people didn't get sick of, sorry, what's her formal title? Intrepid Gal Reporter Paige Sinclair.
Oh my goodness. Why do you talk like this? We're from Fresno.
And then, and then Max is played by Max Greenfield. So you got the double act of Packet Brewster and Max Greenfield just doing these old-timey reporters who actually get an arc.
Yes, because I know we were talking about it in the, we were talking about the first half. We didn't necessarily care for the characters, because I thought they were just kind of like there to push along the overall story that's happening with Bojack right now, but then they actually had a nice little arc at the end of theirs, and I thought, hey, they actually did a good job of tying it all together, so I was happy about that.
Yeah, they're still kind of insufferable, though.
Yeah, but like I said, just the fact that like her sister is like, why do you talk like that? We're from Fresno. I was like, that was worth it, because it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. Like, the fact that her sister talks like a normal person and calls out the fact that she talks weird. With the frickin' transatlantic accent. I think that's what that is, more or less.
Oh, man.
I explained that to my roommate when we were watching. The transatlantic accent thing.
Oh, man.
And I had to explain a few jokes to him, too, because he doesn't keep up with pop culture.
Right.
So the Les Moonves joke went right over his head, which is possibly one of the best, darkest jokes in the entire season.
Yes.
Yeah, like, it is frustrating because, like, some of the characters can be extremely unlikable in scenes. Like arguably the only one who really does it is Mr. Peanut Butter, because he you know, he's such a well-meaning good dog.
Yeah, and even when he is trying to be the, I mean, even when he's just really in a bad position, because there were several times where he could have been like a real big jerk about certain things and still wasn't.
Yeah.
And then there are times like at the season finale when he just cannot stop being Mr. Peanut Butter. And I love Bojack with that comment, if this is my only option, I'd rather be elsewhere.
Yeah, well, because I mean, that's the ultimate thing. The lifeless optimist can-do character and the birthday dad.
I was about to say,
birthday
dad. What is this show even about?
we talked about it before because it was based on like the birthday greeting card.
Yes.
And I just love the part where one guy's shouting, "No, birthday dad, don't cross the international date line. It will no longer be your birthday." And it's like, wait, what? And of course, it's somehow winning Emmys.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's a dig at the most bland, ridiculous,
absurd.
sitcoms.
Yeah, just ridiculous. And I mean, it's hilarious because it's also like the antithesis of everything that is horsing around, but we never see it.
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah, that one we just flat out never see, except for I think one scene, which is I think the worst scene where Bojack plays an extra. Or it's horsing around. We've gotten full episodes.
Oh, right, exactly.
And then, of course, we had that horrifying bit where, what was it? O.J. Simpson lured Barry Shrek. Which I'm like, and it's, of course, brilliant because it's a DNA. They talk about DNA, and it's right before we get the reveal about a certain character. But, I mean, it's like, oh my god, what sitcom did this?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, we're gonna get off track because Bojack is such an but the crux of the thing is, as Bojack tries to find ultimate redemption with a job he actually seems to grow and enjoy. Although I'm not gonna lie, the interrupting AA scenes flat out offended me because I hate the idea that people would actually like invade AA.
To me, it was one of those things that the first time it happened, it was really funny because Bojack the entire time is being straight about the whole situation, like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, he's very much lampshade. He's like, this is wildly inappropriate.
Yes, I'm sorry. I try to make a safe space for everybody. This is so inappropriate. But then it just became a running gag, and like everybody in AA is not able to just identify the fact that these people are not drunks and they're stupid. Like, that was the thing. Like, oh, that's just stop it, please.
That got really uncomfortable.
Yeah. Like I said, the first time it was very funny because, like I said, Bojack kept it in line. It made sense, and he was speaking for us. But then the second and third time, it was just ridiculous. It was just stupid. I did not like it.
Yeah, well, because it's like, I don't know. But, no, in general, like, I liked where his arc went.
Yeah.
Where he found the joy in life, and then Diane, of course, tries to figure out if she really has what it takes to be a proper contributor to society in her new life. And, of course, Mr. Peanut Butter desperately trying to run a restaurant with Joey Pogo for some reason, as well as Pickles.
Oh, man.
Yeah, then of course, but then we got the crux of the what was building up for several episodes, where he does an interview about the whole Sarah Lynn thing, and oh boy.
Yeah, and like I said, this was once again Bojack having the opportunity to walk away from something and just cannot help himself. Because he has to be in the spotlight. He had to feel like a hero, and it just shot him in the foot. It was so bad.
Oh, yeah.
Why are you asking me this? Why are you asking me these things?
Yeah.
Oh man, but what about Todd's arc? Because that was one of those things that kind of like happened unexpectedly, and
I know
there were certain things about his life that, of course, we didn't necessarily know about. Let alone, I'm not gonna say we didn't care, but they never really gave us an incentive to care. And then this season, we had these major arcs when it came to relationships with him that I did not expect to happen, and I thought it was very interesting. The very end, the final conversation with Todd and Bojack, where they do emphasize the fact that Todd is both dumb and very smart.
Well, yeah, like, that's kind of a thing we got a lot in the television series. Like, when we talk about another show, which we'll probably talk about in the next episode, the same kind of thing comes up with a character. And I think it's very fitting that, like, just because a character is dumb doesn't mean they can offer some kind of wisdom, which is perhaps a bit of a cliche.
Right.
But it's true, because people overthink things a lot.
Right.
Like, and so to have someone who underthinks, and you realize, you know, maybe sometimes you just got to get out of your own head.
Yeah, just do the hokey pokey.
Yeah. And I mean, like, it makes it easier to understand where this wisdom is coming from if the character is generally dumb.
Right.
Because they have this simplistic way of looking at things, and it helps, you know, appreciate what wisdom they can offer.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, like, the cliche makes sense, and I think Todd in particular offering that up does track.
It definitely worked for him.
Because he's very much a simple person.
Right. But he's extravagant when it comes to certain ideas, and I love his girlfriend and how she just is on the same wavelength, and just good stuff. I appreciate the way they handle Todd's character arc. On the opposite end of the spectrum, what about Princess Caroline?
You know what? I think I ultimately enjoyed her arc.
Okay.
But there's something more about it was bugging me. I think I'm trying to think of how to frame it.
It's weird because I understand, especially like the last episode where they kind of had her and Bojack talking, just, you know, her accepting happiness in the same way that Diane. But it just felt like she had a bigger mission, I guess, when they started off the first half of the season, and it didn't feel like it panned out, especially with her being a mother, because I mean that was a huge part of her character leading up to the point where she actually got a baby.
Yeah. Well, I think part of the point was, despite having a baby, she didn't feel like she necessarily had a family.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what they tried to set up was, this is the type of family she would need.
Okay.
And so they went with that.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I can totally see people not agreeing with, but I think that tracks.
Yeah.
And of course, we got resolution on esteemed character actress Margot Martindale. Sorry, I just love bringing that up.
Man.
And the Deus Ex Machina that saves her life.
Yes, that was great. One of the best running gags of the whole series. Like, oh man,
she just keeps popping up now.
I know, like, just random.
Like,
there's moments where you have no idea that she would just pop up, and then if she does, it's like, oh yeah, that fits. That just works every time.
It's like the first time she popped up to, like, right before she got her first nomination and win.
Yeah.
I think I can't remember how that all lines up, but I swear that happened.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. And then, of course, Bojack's arc in particular, just to go back to it, how it ends is just like, you have to kind of think about it, because, of course, the second last episode of the series is really good.
Yeah, that was a monumental episode. Like, there was a point where I was watching it, and of course I'm just glued to the television at this point. And then we get to the credits, and I'm just blown away. And it's something very simple that they do that just has me so excited for the next episode.
Oh yeah, because I mean, like, you generally don't know what's going to happen, and I love how vague the episode descriptions are.
Yeah.
Including Bojack reconnects with some old family members and friends he hasn't seen in years. And it's like, wait.
And the way that episode goes by, yes, he does, but it's not in the way you expect it to be.
And then, of course, the final episode, a celebration of merriment brings people together.
It feels like all of these were written by Mr. Peanut Butter.
I know. Well, the other ones do kind of describe what happens. Like, the last two are just, like, very cautious about
very vague and making sure that, hey, if you haven't seen it, don't be spoiled too badly. And I appreciate that.
Yep. Yeah, and, like, the finale is a very interesting way of going about this, because there's so many ways they could have gone, and the way they went about it was actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think it felt like a BoJack ending. It really did, because, especially considering the conversation that was had beforehand.
Yeah, and there's that wrap-up conversation where it feels fitting for what the show is ultimately about. I think. Because, you know, through it all, there's always this hope spot, because you see Bojack struggles so much, and the depression that hits over him, and you just kind of want to be like, but it gets better, right?
Right, like, it's always that feeling of hope that it permeates the entire series. Like it happened at the end of season 5 with the idea like, hey, he's going to rehab. He's going to finally kick this thing and realize he hit rock bottom. And then, like he talked about it in this season, you know, I've seen rock bottom, and every time I think that I've hit rock bottom, I hit a rockier bottom a little bit later. And, like, you just watch it and you see, like, hey, this is truly life. Like, you cannot predict what can happen. You're going to try to be the best person that you can be. But there are times where the person that you say that you don't want to be still exists in you. And I thought that was a great, just a little conversation piece. And, like I said, I'll walk away. This is one of my favorite series that I've ever seen on Netflix. It will go down as one of my favorite. I don't know if it will go down as one of my favorite shows of all time, but it will definitely be one of those ones that I will look back and think, you know what, this was definitely something that left a lasting impression in a very positive way.
It definitely tries to examine just the real complexity of, like, depression and addiction and all that stuff, and it really doesn't sugarcoat it.
No, not at all.
And, I mean, it can be frustrating when people make bad choices. And arguably the one thing that can always feel kind of off is, even knowing the character, the framing can sometimes feel off with that. But I think the fact that we see the guilt and consequences of those decisions helps make up for any questionable moments.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way I can put it. And, of course, we get a delightful spoofing of Hollywood. And that's always refreshing. Plus, just like I said, we get good character pieces, we get, you know, and from ridiculous beginnings, we got just some really good stuff.
Yeah. And on a high note, to me, it never went downhill, and I would rather it, you know, just go away in the way that it did in a fine fashion. And I think it really went down in a fine fashion.
Absolutely. No, it's a very enjoyable season. I mean, it's got rough points, but
it's a rough watch at times. It really is. But it doesn't lose the heart. It doesn't, like, just become enveloped in that darkness. And it's still Bojack. It's still a season of Bojack that you will thoroughly enjoy if you've enjoyed the previous seasons. And if you haven't watched it, please just start at episode 1 and watch it all the way through, because it is a fantastic show. It will go down as a great example of what Netflix has produced over the last few years.
Absolutely. That about covers it, though.
Yeah.
So we might as well dive into something a little lighter.
Yeah.
Although it's still kind of a bummer, I gotta say.
Yeah. No, it's shockingly deep and not deep at the same time. It's a great popcorn flick while still being. It's got the heart to it still, so I appreciate that.
See, we're talking about Bad Boys for Life.
Yes.
Which is the third entry in the film, even though it's got 4 in the title,
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But, yes, we got the very long-awaited 17-year-in-the-making sequel, where Will Smith and Martin Lawrence once again are back as Michael Lowry, as he always likes to say, and Marcus Burnett,
yes.
I believe that's his name.
Yes,
I know it's Marcus.
Yeah, it's Martin's name.
Yeah. And I think it's got an M name in his middle name too. But I just remember there was a bit where they went alliterative with his name.
Yes.
I can't remember if that was a joke or not. So yeah, like they're cops in Miami. That's always been the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And now, after 17 years since their last adventure,
which they did so much better than Zombieland 2.
Oh yeah. Well, they even acknowledge it's like, you guys have been detectives for so long. You've never got you've done assignments, but you're still basically below me.
Right.
This is Joey Pants saying this. Good old Joe Pantoliano.
Yes.
What's his character name? Captain Howard.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like, I can't remember exactly what he says because I saw this a few days ago, and since then, life has happened.
And honestly, it's like there's things about the movie that you won't remember when it comes to conversations a lot of times.
No, but well, yeah, it's that thing where the dialogue works, but how much of it you'll actually remember is questionable.
Exactly.
It's nothing really jarring, but but essentially the basic premise is
you remember the character interactions more than you remember the conversations.
That's pretty much it, which is fine. I mean, that still shows they have good chemistry.
Oh yeah.
Which, I mean, you could ask for far less. But yeah, they're still just detectives, and then of course Marcus is like, maybe I should retire.
Yeah, because we can spoil this. This is right at the beginning of the movie. This is big. We assume there's a big chase sequence, and come to find out, no, they're rushing to the hospital to witness Marcus become a grandfather.
Yeah, which is fitting. I mean, could you imagine if it was just him becoming a father, even though he had kids? That's what I want to say. I'm just thinking of bad sequels, where they acknowledge time passes, but they don't seem to understand how much time has passed. This one, they very much acknowledge it, and they kind of poke fun at the stagnation that is there to a degree.
Especially with with Mike, and just his general life. He's still stuck in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, which is and that's kind of the joke, which I'm like, okay, that works. Like we said, this really bothered us about Zombieland 2.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in this case, it's like, oh, okay, they're still probably using a script idea they had from years ago, but it feels like they did update.
Right, they understood we cannot come in with this script that we had. It's probably written in 2007, 2008, and we have to work on it to make sure it actually makes sense.
Yeah, and that really shows because what's the best way to you said popcorn flip, it very much makes me think of not just the first two, which are two of the most watchable films, even though if you describe what happens, it's very basic.
Right. If you describe it, they'd be like, oh, we've seen so many of these movies before.
Well, I know, the first one almost feels episodic at points.
Mm-hmm.
With I was like, oh, the big thing is they gotta pretend to be each other.
Right.
Which feels like, some big, maybe mid-season two-parter of, a comedic cop show from the 90s.
Exactly.
Which I'm like, that's fair. But it still works fine. And, or maybe what happened in Lethal Weapon 5.
Oh, man.
But, yeah, no, so that all happens. And then, I can't even remember what happens in the second one. I just remember S gets real. And it's such a sweet movie. But yeah, I genuinely cannot remember the plot of that one now. And then this one, it's I was like, I gotta retire. It's like, oh man, you can't retire. I gotta retire. All right, I'm gonna keep doing my thing. And then it's oh no, you're in trouble. Yeah, I guess I gotta get out of retirement, don't I?
I love the point of Marcus. His whole thing is I've given up violence. I made a vow to God. And God giving a sign is just seeing Mike getting beat up everywhere. That's not enough sign for you to need to help your friend right now.
And it's all right, you think you're doing overkill there, guy. but yeah, no, it's like at its core, it actually kind of reminds me of Lethal Weapon 2, which is kind of a compliment because Lethal Weapon 2 is in general a pretty good film. Yeah, this kind of reminds me of that, especially with like the level of personal danger that seems to be attached to our heroes because they're being targeted and stuff. In particular, Mike. Like, Marcus is actually relatively okay.
Yeah, Marcus is he'll be a collateral damage if he just gets too close. Like, if he stayed away, he'd been perfectly fine.
Which I think is one of the things I really appreciate about the script, because he reasonably wants to retire, and the danger is not directed at him. So, if he did retire, he would probably be fine.
Yeah, he would just have the only thing that would have happened if Mike would have succumbed to death before they reunited was just like the emotional grief of me not being by my partner's side. But other than that, like you said, really, if he wanted to stay retired and just tear up his living room, he could have done so at his free will.
Yeah, I know. Like, I really love that. Like, it seems like it's such a simple touch, but I do appreciate where they go with that. And like, probably one of the script's big failings, because besides the fact, of course, it's like it's not amazing, but there's a lot of little touches that are really solid, even if you can't necessarily remember the individual little bits.
Right.
But I think one of the things that kind of bugs me is the big twist.
I saw it coming and didn't see it coming. One of those things, it looks kind of obvious, but you kind of hope that it's so obvious that it's not actually the twist, and then it becomes just like, oh, seriously.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's kind of awkward to where they go with it, because you understand why they do it, because it's like, well, we can't have. It's like, it felt like they kind of wrote themselves into a corner, and so the ending they chose is going to probably bug some people. I think it bugged me, and I like this movie.
Yeah, no, I was perfectly fine with the original premise of a certain character, and. Then, like they said, they had to put a twist in there, and to me, it kind of ruined that whole thing. Like, they didn't even have to have the twist to have some of the moments that did happen.
That's true. I mean, they probably could have been smarter about it.
Yeah, they really could have.
They very much wrote themselves into a corner, and the solution they got is like, whatever. But I mean, it's one of those things where you argue between real life morality and film morality, and it's like, can we stick to film morality? Because real life, with the way this has all been framed, is actually very uncomfortable.
Yeah. I mean, you think about just the absurdity of a lot of what happens in not only this movie but also in the entire series. Like you said, I would have appreciated if they just stuck without trying to go too full blown realistic with that. And it just, it didn't fit. They really could have done without it. Like I said, there was a lot of what happened in the third act that didn't need the twist, and it still could have happened, and it'd been just fine.
Oh yeah, I do want to mention though the directors.
Okay.
There were two of them, because they were was it Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fallah, who I generally don't know anything about them, really.
No.
But their direction of that was very good.
No, they did a really great job.
And like, the only thing I've seen that they did is they did a couple episodes of Snowfall, and I can't even remember which episodes were theirs. Because, I've been looking at the thing. Most of the stuff they've done, it looks like they had a Belgian crime film in 2015 that I might want to check out now. Because, I mean, because this one wasn't directed by Michael Bay.
Right.
Bay had very little to do with it.
Yeah, I love the fact he made a little cameo, though.
That was nice. Like, he clearly gave the project his blessing in some respect, which I do appreciate. But because we give Michael Bay a lot of crap, and rightfully so. But the Bad Boys films are a lot of fun.
No, I'm not. And that's the one thing I was hoping when it came to this, was the fact I could walk away saying I had a good time, and I did. Generally, I had a good time watching this movie.
Yeah, like, the only thing is, like, the ending probably bugged you. Well, it definitely bugged me more than some of the other ones.
Right? No, like I said, that twist and that ending, the whole witches got me kind of deal was a little bit too much for me.
Yeah, because the endings of 1 and 2 were fun.
Right? Oh yeah.
Maybe a little shallow at first.
Yeah, but no, it still fit them. It fit the characters. That was the thing. It worked. And but what about the one that always stuck out to me? Was I saw his name in the opening credits. And I'm just like, I wonder what they're going to do with him. DJ Khaled being a butcher was
Yep.
the most hilarious thing to me.
Oh man. Yeah, it kind of tracks though if you look at.
I was expecting like they're gonna have like as a big drug dealer or something. They have to
Well,
question.
yeah, that would have been the obvious thing.
No, he ain't a butcher.
Yeah, let's pick up a butcher. I'm like, all right, I'll allow that.
Oh, that was great. I adored that moment. That was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. And yeah, I think we talked about this before we started recording. Just like, is that Vanessa Hudgens?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes, she's a part of this this special military arm operation part of the police in Miami, and she starts talking. I'm like, is that Vanessa Hudgens? And then I realized when she's there's this moment where they're infiltrating a certain area. I'm not gonna spoil too much, but she's like, that's when I really realized it was her, which is funny because it was like during an action sequence more so than when she was just standing around being normal. So
I know, which is funny because like she hasn't done a lot of action that I
right,
know of.
same. Like I do not recall.
I know she was in Journey 2 or whatever. But
oh yeah.
that wasn't exactly.
Nah.
That was just family adventure. That wasn't really action.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird because like she's in there, but she doesn't really do anything.
No, she's just a part of the crew.
Yeah, I know. It's
And
just
she's
like,
actually like the
here's
most lacking person of the crew.
I know. But yeah, because the other two guys, they actually get some development.
Right.
I mean, they're
The big guy that's a hacker, I mean, he's got probably less lines than she does, and he has more screen presence when it comes to the overall presentation.
You think they were maybe setting off a spin-off with them?
Yeah, I thought about the same thing. Like, that was an obvious...
I just thought about that now.
Yeah, no, I thought about the same thing, like, when it came, like, everybody survived. I was like, wow, they might have an ammo spin-off.
Yeah, right, because we should probably explain that acronym
Yeah.
real quick. Let me look up exactly what it was, because I know
It's
Miami's in
yeah,
there.
it's Advanced Miami Metro Operations. Yeah.
The A is the only really contrived part.
Right, yeah.
MMO, I mean, but they probably didn't want to
Yeah, MMO!
Yeah, but like they said, that's the weird thing, is Vanessa Hudgens has one of the bigger credits in the movie
Yes.
over some of the other characters, and it's like, oh, that's weird. And she's just sort of there. It's like if the third biggest credit in 21 Jump Street was Dakota Johnson. She's barely in that movie.
Right. No, I could actually see them pulling a Hobbs and Shaw with ammo.
It wouldn't be the worst thing. I mean, especially because where they took Mike and Marcus in this one, I mean, it's like, do we really need a bad boy?
Right. There's not much more you can do with that. Like, and not from a perspective of, oh, they have the chemistry. It's just from the perspective of, oh, they've gotten a lot older. It just doesn't feel as realistic anymore.
Yeah.
Like, we need a new generation. Okay, oh crap! I just thought about it. The baby's a new generation. That's gonna be the leader of ammo, and they're gonna have to spin off with the baby.
Oh man.
And I'm not even saying the baby's gonna be an adult. I'm saying it's gonna be like 8 years old.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be Adam Cole. That was a wrestling joke.
Oh man.
It was a total non sequitur. Don't worry if you didn't find it funny. But yeah, I don't know what else there's to really say. Like, it's a fun little film, and like, you know, considering how much garbage is in theaters right now, I don't even want to talk about it, because I did see some of the lousy movies. I like to try to talk about films we like.
Right.
I don't like ranting about films we hate unless it genuinely offends me. Like, that's usually where my line in the sand is.
And a lot of times the ones that we talk about that does offend us is not ones we expect to offend us like that. We're not coming in with a negative idea. It's just sometimes it happens that way.
No. And I mean, I don't know what else there's to say.
No, solid movie. Like, I want this on Blu-ray. I want the trilogy box set in Blu-ray now. That's all. That's it. That's all I want.
Yeah, no, and I am looking forward to seeing what else Adil and Bilal end up directing.
Yeah.
Because apparently they're attached to Beverly Hills Cop 4.
Whoa!
Which, I mean, like, as much as I don't like the idea that exists...
After seeing what they did with this, I'm fully on board with that.
No, absolutely. Like, I just hope they don't... I don't know.
I said, for example, okay, as of this recording, they dropped the trailer for the Chris Rock version of Saw.
Yeah.
And I'm actually excited about it now because it looks like
I know.
It looks like it's more like Saw the original than anything else.
Yeah, and like it's really interesting. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have Chris Rock do a Saw.
Right.
What?
And I remember because he was like talking about. I remember he did an interview before, and I know this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, just something still movies. Like I said, where's the humor? You know, they have some opportunities for laughter. Like I saw the trailer, nothing to laugh at outside of Samuel L. Jackson's final closing line in the trailer, and that's just because of Samuel L. Jackson said it. And
yeah, exactly.
that's why it was funny because him saying it makes it entertaining. But like watching, it was like, oh man, this feels like this could have been the sequel to Saw 1. And who would have thought that Chris Rock would be the person to pull that off?
I know, but there we go.
Yeah, we'll see though. That's in May, so it's crazy to think a Saw movie coming out in May, but that's the world we live in.
Yep. And so I guess we might as well end this episode. Yeah. Let's actually, because I can think of two things we're probably going to talk about in the next episode.
Okay.
So we'll probably end up talking next week, or next time, I should say, about Birds of Prey.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to say the full title this
time.
No,
just stick with it.
Yeah, we'll stick with it now, but we'll probably end up talking about that. We'll probably end up talking about The Good Place. And third thing, TBA.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out as we go along. The Harley Quinn way.
Well, I think I have a guess on what the third one will be, but let's see what else we can come up with before we decide on that.
All right.
Anyway, so that's been episode 69. Thank you as always for being here, James.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. And that double entendre just did not... That just hit me in the face, literally. Oh, man, that just worked, actually.
I just like to slip those in. Yeah. But so until next time, folks, just remember, don't let S get real.
Yep.